1960s or 1950s or 1930s. Retro means that we have to go back to being DNA. All right, so retroviruses start out as RNA, and there has to be a special enzyme to turn the RNA into DNA for the host cell to read and then make into either RNA for genome again, or RNA for protein synthesis. So you start out kind of having to go backward, because remember, normally we go from DNA to RNA, and now we have to go from RNA to DNA. There's a special enzyme that retroviruses have. It's called reverse transcriptase. Remember, transcription is when you go from DNA to RNA. Here we're going in reverse from RNA to DNA. So reverse transcriptase is the enzyme that catalyzes being able to go from viral RNA to something that, to viral DNA that can be then read by the host cell and turned into things that are useful for the virus to replicate, like more RNA genomes and RNA for either glycoprotein for the membrane envelope, or RNA, or excuse me, a protein for the capsids. So proteins are part of the structural components of bacteria or viruses. Sorry. All right, and then, like I said, as far as the DNA viruses go, just seeing what we have in the notes here. You start out with DNA, and just like in the host cell, you have transcription. To RNA. And then the RNA is translated to proteins by the host ribosomes. All right, and now again, why are you interested, or why might you ever be interested in all of this transcription and translation and reverse transcriptase stuff? It turns out that this is such an unusual enzyme, this reverse transcriptase. We don't have anything like it. And as you know from the peptidoglycan of a gram-positive cell wall, or of an 70S ribosome that are found in all prokaryotes, if something is weird or different, that means you can develop drugs that will interfere with this function, like the penicillinase and the tetracycline interfere with the synthesis of gram-positive cell walls or protein synthesis in prokaryotes, respectively. And so yes, there are drugs, anti-HIV drugs, that target reverse transcriptase very well. first drug that was actually proved to treat AIDS patients was a reverse transcriptase inhibitor. Which is called, and it's an antiretroviral drug. Called AZT. Now, the coronavirus is also a retrovirus, but I guess its reverse transcriptase is that different enough from that's found in the HIV virus that unfortunately AZT is not effective. So they're looking for antiretroviral drugs that will work on the coronavirus at present. And again, this is, as far as science and medicine goes, these details end up becoming important because differences between eukaryotic cells or prokaryotic cells and viruses yield information about potential targets for therapeutics. Okay. I'm just looking at my notes because I have way more notes than how I explained this, but I think I explained it pretty well. So in addition to be classified by their genome and by whether they have by whether they have a DNA or RNA genome or the kind of protein envelope that they have, like the glycoproteins H1 and N1, there are certain viruses that only affect certain organisms. And one specific class of viruses that are fairly important because they infect bacteria are called bacteriophages. And bacteriophages are important commercially because these are viruses that are very specific for bacteria, so you can go and just swallow them and they won't do anything except for kill all the bacteria in your guts, which isn't necessarily a wise thing, but they have been approved to treat lunch meat, or cold cuts if you want to call them that. And the idea is to prevent a type of food poisoning called listeriosis. There's a lot of work done in the 1920s and 1930s looking at what we would now consider to be really unusual ways of treating people who have bacterial infections. The reason why we would consider them to be weird is because in the 1940s we developed antibiotics, and so these other types of therapies that were developed in the 1920s and 1930s gave way to drugs like penicillin and tetracycline and aminoglycosides, sulfonamides, and those sorts of things. And so all these other kind of weird approaches, they're reported in the literature and then nothing for like 70 years. 70 years later, we have a problem. It's called antibiotic resistance. And so all of a sudden now, if you're interested in treating bacterial diseases, this is one way. I mean, so if you have a patient who's septic, that means that there's septic means sewer literally, but if you have a patient who's septic, that means that there's bacteria in their blood plasma, swimming around with their red blood cells and their white blood cells, and everything else that's in blood plasma. And these people are going to die if these bacteria are antibiotic resistant. So what do you do? Well, you could let them die, or you could develop a bacteriophage that will infect these bacteria. It's sort of like using germ warfare against germs, literally, not like. So we can use germ warfare against germs by developing these bacteriophages, these viruses that infect specific types of bacteria, and use them then to treat patients who have particular problems. And this is stated in my notes. So it was investigated as an antibacterial agent in the 1930s and 1940s. But they were dropped when antibiotics were purified in the 1940s. Okay, so I think we'll stop there for now.